Thanks everybody for coming out and seeing the MMO Grind. I'm here with my co-host Zaylin and our guest. Wow, there are different names under our current screen names. That's a horrible thing. Treville is currently Malice.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was like, wow.
Okay, with the amount of in and out
really
that Trev,
upgraded the looks, you know, it's like
with the amount of in and out of the video software that Trev has done in the past 30 minutes has just been insane. So, but hey, Twitch personality disorder. I like that, Bobo.
Exactly. So tonight, besides getting to know Trev in general, we're going to be discussing the cube system from Camelot Unchained. And apparently Trev's leaving. I guess the interview is over, and that was easy. Easiest interview I've ever done. We'll be discussing the cube system from Camelot Unchained, basically the system that is going to be used to build all the structures in the game. So first we're going to get to know Trev. So when did you start actually getting into MMO gaming?
Oh God, that was quite a while ago. And oh my God, this camera is terrible. Never buy Logitech. I've learned to never buy Logitech. Oh my God.
I love my Logitech camera. Just don't buy the bottom line one, yeah.
Yeah, I bought the really expensive one because that was a good
idea. I have.
Clearly that was a good investment. In fact, I'm quickly realizing that was a terrible investment.
User error.
God. Okay, you know what?
This is gonna be a fun stream.
Mine works fine. So I don't know.
Yeah, mine works great too.
Oh yeah, yours works great. You know, I'm over here playing with every setting on the camera right now while I'm trying to answer your question, which is clearly not happening very well. Where's the brightness? Oh my God, what happened there? That was cool.
You can try to turn your gain down.
Is turn off the brightness filter so that it's not washed out, because otherwise you look like this.
Count Dracula. Yeah, I know. Isn't it amazing? Where's the brightness filter? Is there a filter for this? Yes. Let's go to exposure. Let's see if that works better.
If you actually go to like the little magic wand thing and hit the filters, there's different filters.
Oh wow, there's a magic wand. Oh wow, I need a magic wand.
Do things like this.
I haven't even been paying attention to what Malice is doing. I probably should be.
Yeah, you don't want to see this.
Oh, check it out. There, I'm just manually going to set the brightness. So screw
you want to mess with the gain.
Look, there we go. Better? That looks better now.
Fantastic.
We're giving up now, and we're going to answer your question. By the way, I mean me. So I got back when I was in 9th grade. Actually, a teacher of mine got me into MMO gaming. My drafting and design teacher. He got me into Dark Age. Was my very first MMO. After that, there's Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, EverQuest 2, Star Wars something.
Galaxies?
A lot of them.
A lot of them.
No, not Galaxy. Was it
Old
Galaxies?
Republic? There's two.
Old Republic,
Galaxies
yes.
and Old Republic. All right.
It wasn't Galaxies, it was Old Republic, yeah. So that's where all that came from. And then the most recent was AAU, and that was a disaster.
we discussed
if
about
I wanted
whether
to
or not we were going to have
for a living.
I mean, that's what most games
are
now.
If I wanted to play Farmville, I would go back to Facebook.
That's true.
You know, see, I still have a place in my heart for Arcade, so you know I can't bash it too hard.
Dead spots don't count, Malice.
I'm having a heart attack. But so he started in Dark Age of Camelot. That's a pretty extensive game, and to say that he was not interested in grinding, I call bullshit, because apparently he hit max level at some point in Dark Age, and the only way to do that is through painful, endless grinding. What was your starting faction?
Everybody's going to judge you on this next answer.
I know they are, and I don't want to answer this. Can I plead the fifth?
Nope.
So you were a Hib, huh? You were a Hib?
No, I wasn't Hib, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was Albion.
Oh, that's fine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We were.
Well, that was great. Except look at me now. I'm all Tuatha or Tuatha De Danann, whatever. Max it.
TDD.
Now he's a TDD.
And now I'm dirty, filthy tree hugger.
I mean, I went Midgard after playing Alb, so whatever.
So why did you choose the dirty, filthy tree hugger this time around as opposed to the other faction realm?
Because they're more interesting.
Okay.
Is there any other answer than that one? That should be the best answer.
I guess what makes it interesting?
The lore is really interesting. The building for me, because I love building, so their architecture was really underserved when I first start back the game. There are all these builders that did all the stuff for Arthurian and everything, and there's even some Viking builders from that many TDD builders. So I decided, let's jump on the underdog bandwagon, which is now apparently no longer the underdog.
Yeah, well, it's had a great sales pitch as being the, in a way, an evil faction, because it has insects and other amoral aspects, and so I think that people have been really excited and interested in that faction because of that.
Well, that too. I mean, who doesn't? But then again, nothing is better than the Arthurian, where the king did something with a cat. I'm just saying.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with when the king does something with a cat.
Depends on what he does with the cat, Malice.
Fair enough.
Well, that's how a certain furry class, which by the way, the only furries are actually on Arthurian, so you get that demographic.
Well, trust me, I'm not playing Arthurian and Camelot Unchained.
I know you're a Viking.
Gippy has just now changed his faction.
I'm playing the other furry where we got crow people.
That's feathery. That's not furry.
That's why I finger quoted it.
Somebody wants to know what you do with your cat.
Feathery.
I pet it. It likes it. I don't know.
So when did you actually start building in Cube? Tell us the story about how you got into that, how you found that, and kind of got in with them and that kind of stuff.
Actually, there's a distinct irony. I found Camelot Unchained looking for a building game, and it ended up finding that. Then I found out it was Mark Jacobs' game, and I immediately backed it, realized I could play in Cube, and the next day I was in Cube. And this was how many years ago now?
7.
4 or 5 years ago.
7.
I did not find it in the Kickstarter, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about 1.5 years, 2 years late there.
Oh, that means you've just been waiting less, which is better.
Oh yes, so much better. Let me tell you.
So then, how did you become the dude that built Cherry Keep?
I was the only one that finished their design.
Oh, so
True
it was
story,
like
by the way. True story.
So it was like a contest.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you've never heard the full story about how Cherry Keep came to be?
No.
Oh, okay. So Cherry Keep was actually just a file that we were given by, I think it was Ben and CSC. So the Builders Brigade was said, hey, we got a challenge for you. Here's the thing. You guys can work on it together, individually, however you want to do it. So, okay, sure. None of us were going to build the same thing because Scott, Florence, and I were not going to build Arthurian. Bosk and was started to build an Arthurian thing, and then Arobi was building a Viking build. And we all started it. Bosk dropped out first due to some real life issues. Swazi and Necro weren't around at the time, nor was Heartfire, so it was down to 3 of us. The closest one was between Scott and I, but he ended up not finishing in the 16-day window we had to build that. So Cherry Keep, 120 hours of my life was put into 2 weeks to build that.
It's a lot of work. 120 hours? That's more than a full-time job.
Yeah, I have played on Cube more than most people play a single-player, video game.
Well, that means you got to be pretty good at it.
Yeah, okay.
At the time, how was the system working? Was it literally cube by cube, or?
Oh no, God, no. No, this is not a terrible building game like Minecraft or what have you, where you have 1 block at a time. Although Conan is fun with 1 block at a time. So,
well, at one point the game was 1 block at a time.
Yeah, I'm glad they dropped that like a hot rock. Oh my god.
Oh, trust me, I was yelling at it because basically I was like, so every building is going to look like either a penis or a swastika? Because I mean that's pretty much how gamers go.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting for the wall of phallic symbols just going down whatever realm. I'm waiting for that when it launches. I want to
Oh
see
yeah,
what they do. I'm going to wait for Mount Boobmore and
Mount Boobmore. There you
yeah.
go. I support this.
Who built that?
We're
Oh, that
starting
was
a- We're
Malice's
starting a
guild.
new contest on launch. If you can make Mount Boobmore.
In fact, yeah, I've been waiting for that since it launched. CSE's all, oh, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. I want to see this. I want to see how you manage to do that. Because they're going to have so many buildings. There's just, oh, look, I made a penis. Look, balls. There you go.
Yes. When I was working for Mythic Online Entertainment with MJ, my very first job with them was
Making
customer
boobs.
service. And we had picked up UO. And UO had, so we were, as our customer service was customer service for UO, for Sims Online, and for Dark Age of Camelot. And on UO, we basically had to keep going into houses all the time and removing all of the swastikas.
Wow.
Because since it was a 2.5D is what they like to call it, the ISO, you could see into people's houses. And so they would build a house and then they would build on their roof and bushes, swastikas and all other kinds of random stuff. And so I would spend my day flying around and going, all right, blow that up. Oh, and blow that up. And blow that up. Because it's really hard to stop people from doing that, even if you give them very formulated methods of building. And Trev lost his voice.
No, Trev did not lose his voice. Trev hit the mute button again because I'm really good at that.
Fair enough. Also, just for our viewers to know, Trev's a little under the weather, so he probably also muted it so he could cough and do other things like that. Like that. See? So.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. Just like that.
I still think you should do
having
some,
the flu. Great.
I still think you should do some James Earl Jones voiceovers with the lovely voice that you've got going on right now.
This is about where it normally is, though. It's just a little bit more raspy right now.
See, he lives in the land of baritone. Nothing wrong with that. So, when I was paying attention to Cube, I'm not the builder in my guild, so I only paid attention so far until it was just like, Narthesis, you take care of that.
Delegation. Yes.
Delegation. That's my job. And at the end of the day, it looked like they were kind of creating more like pre-made wall sections and pre-made doorways and different things like that were kind of faction orientated and stuff like that. So how detailed can you get down to manipulating pieces?
Okay, so in Cube, currently as it sits with Camelot Unchained, you have the ability to work with things that are half a meter. Each block is roughly half a meter.
Oh, I guess we should also say this is all subject to change because it's a game in alpha. Sorry,
beta 1.
Yeah, beta 1. And hi, CSE, don't kill me. I love you guys. If I say anything wrong, just yell at me, okay?
Usually we do most of these streams and we say, hey, none of us here speak for CSE. This is all of our own opinions. Trev is not actually an employee of CSE. He's just one of those 80-20 volunteers that does 80% of the work.
Sure, we'll go with that. So, anyway. So with Camelot Unchained, with the building engine right now, they do have BPOs, is what you're talking about, which are building place objects, which I'm trying to only mention things that I know about that are mentioned in updates from CSE Official. So with those building place objects, they are making more and more of those. Those will have chairs, tables. They're going to have pretty much anything that you need. Like you mentioned, Malice, they're going to have specific things later on for each realm. So you're going to have different doorways. You're going to have different decorations, decor,
Prob-
whatever for
Probably
each
roof
thing.
types and things like that. So
Well,
that
the
like
roof
you can make
types,
it look like a
yes.
longhouse or whatever like that for a Viking or whatever.
Well, of course, yeah. So what you're also going to look at though is you're going to see that those things are certain textures. Those textures will be realm or faction locked. So right now, if you go to build, you'll see Arthurian wood, Viking wood, uh, Tuatha De Danann wood, whatever. Yeah, that just sounds about.
Twaftadan.
Yeah, that sounds terrible when we were just talking about phallic symbols and I'm talking about wood over here. But whatever, who cares?
It's all about Viking wood.
Well, with CSE, it appears to be. I'm not saying they're biased, but I'm saying they're possibly. Anyway, we're going to move past that subject for now. So you can get extremely detailed as you can get. They're eventually going to have block counts on each plot. So you have your plot, you place a plot down, it'll only allow 100,000 blocks, let's say. So you have that much room to get as creative as you want. So you figure it out. Takes time, but I'm sure you'll get it, Malice. So you should start right now so you can better delegate from experience of how to build.
There you go. Smack.
I feel that was kind of snide. I don't know. Beyond that, so you mentioned lots. Are there multiple different size lots, and will they have different limits? Or is that
Yes.
something not yet in?
No, that is definitely in right now. If you go play with program right now, you're going to see different sizes. You're going to see basically house size, tower size, castle or keep or whatever they call it, and gargantuan. So they have different sizes. I'm sure they're going to differentiate that more as time goes on, and they all have different block counts that are associated with them. So to be able to find what your realm gets or whatever the king gives you, as it is said to happen later on, then you'll be able to use whatever size you get to be able to build either a city, a keep, something, hopefully with some tactical advantage.
So where do you draw a lot of your inspiration from in your designs and things like that? Do you go to Google and just find pictures? Is this stuff that you literally just pull out of your head?
Are you trying to look at my search history? Please don't look at my search history on my internet right now.
Nope, wasn't planning on. Malice might. You might have to.
Okay, bad things would happen. I don't want to put that on your stream right now. That'd be really bad for you guys. You get like banned off of Twitch in 5 seconds.
Wow, midget horse, what?
Actually, for Donnie, I was looking up lucre porn, but hey, whatever.
Okay, but where do you draw your inspiration from?
Where I draw my inspiration. So I do go on Google searches. I look things. I look at classical things. I also look at a lot of fantasy drawings and things that people that are far more talented than I am or ever will be have done. And then I do things like this, which, oh my gosh, this is going to be so bad. I'm sorry for everyone because of how white this is. Maybe not. Oh, wow. I'm really shocked. It's made me even darker, though. That's cool. So I'll draw or sketch whatever I want. So this is actually Cherry Keep 2.0. This is a rough sketch of what I was going to do there. And then I take that and go from there and build it.
So I like for a keep size, you said is that you're pretty much like 100,000 block limit is like a keep size, or?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That's a great question for the building brigade, like resident genius, Scott Florence. Go ask him. He would know. I don't have any idea.
I just, you had mentioned plots. I didn't know if it told you what your limit was when you built it. So,
on offline building mode, it doesn't have those limitations. You can just keep building as much as you want.
I actually have not been in Cherry Keep recently. What is like how much depth is in it? Now I think I heard someone mention some like 1.2 million blocks or something. Isn't that what's in Cherry Keep? Is it more than that?
9.5 million blocks, yeah.
That's definitely not what we'll see in live.
No, you will never see that in live unless they actually break the system and actually force that in for some scenario or something like tutorial thing. You are not going to see
so
that
we can have thousands and sorry, this is a dig. There's thousands and thousands of NPCs, but we can't have a few million blocks.
No, you could, but the reality is just the resources and everything you would have to do that would be insane.
But the engine
can handle it, but like,
yeah.
what was it? Scott just did a build right recently. Those 700,000 blocks or something. He said, and he did the math. If you made 1,000 blocks per minute, I think he said something crazy like that, like nonstop, it would take you 12 hours of nonstop crafting at 1,000 blocks a minute to be able to build that building. Now you go talk about something over 10 times that size. Think about the resources and everything you're gonna have to get for that. It's not worth it.
And then when you have block limits, if they
Well,
have
that too.
if they have prefab items, will those be worth X amount of blocks? Like, so if there's a wall section or something like that, something that's prefabbed, is that
You're not going to see anything quote unquote prefab in there. Now, look, there's a caveat with that. You're not going to see anything BPO prefab. Now, if you see a wall section, it's going to be like a temporary thing, like a sand wall or something that's just used for quick defense, something while you're building.
got it?
Yeah. So otherwise, you're not going to see prefab. You might see something prefab where they've asked the brigade to build it. So, hey, build us some blueprints that we can give out, some really basic blueprints to the community, and we'll do that. But you're not going to see like, oh, here's a BPO of everything.
So, like, you won't have a prefab for like a gatehouse or something like that. That would be that you would kind of strap on the front and then build around it. Right?
So, what are we talking about? Strap-ons in the front?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay, good to know. All right.
It's much better than putting it on the back. That's just kind of weird.
I had to tell Malice to take his off before you got on cam earlier.
Okay, thank God. Okay, good. Well, don't worry. I was not paying attention, obviously, earlier. I was wanting to destroy my computer, so it's okay. Since now I am brightnessed out, and what's the other thing I am right now? Oh, yeah. I'm running off of Discord and this to make it work.
It is the most janky setup that we've ever had a guest ever need to use. I'm impressed, honestly, that it
got it to work.
But it works, so I ain't gonna complain. We got a question in chat. Hey Trev, how do you see the importance of the builder in a guild? Will they be necessary? What is possible with very good builder as lots of folks dedicated to gathering for that cause?
Okay, so the builder is going to be really important depending on the size of your guild. If you've got a guild that's 15 people, probably not. You're going to buy blueprints and you're just going to have some crafters that'll be able to make blocks. You're going to be able to buy them off of the in-game auction house or whatever system they use at the time, because you'll also be able to buy those blueprints off the same system. Now, when you're talking about a larger guild, like think of Malice's guild, think about Plague, they're going to have 50 plus people in this game come launch. So they're going to need a couple builders that are dedicated to it. That way they're able to more quickly create the blocks, the blueprints, and be able to get out there while the rest of the team and some groups are actually defending them while they build. So they're going to gather resources quickly at the beginning. They're going to get out there, throw down a tower plot in a contested area, build that up as quickly as they possibly can so that then they can actually use that as a forward base. So the builders are going to be a really important aspect of it because buildings are extremely important in this game strategically. You put one near a place of power, your guild automatically has something that's wanted and demand and desire, and possibly something where you can actually end up developing a city around that over time if you get more plots.
With the new siege equipment, how tough are keeps? I haven't, as they've been currently pummeled. I don't know if through the testing, I assume they keep making current adjustments as to how quickly or how not quickly they should be able to go through a wall. But so far, do they seem pretty tough?
Oh yeah, they definitely do. It's just one of those things that takes time. They constantly mess with it depending on the test. The most recent Cherry Keeps test that they did, they drastically reduced the HP of blocks.
So
that way, yeah.
Do we know, will it be, I mean, we've said right now you got Viking wood, Arthurian wood, and TDD wood. Are there different types of materials that will have different, and again, as far as you're allowed to say, different hit points, different strength, resistance that we're aware of yet? Or is it just basically a wood and a stone and as you go?
It's been said on stream that from CSE that it's going to be different HP, whatever, of different items. So wood, of course, can be really basic, easy to acquire, but also very easy to destroy. Then you've got different types of stones. So some of them are going to be kind of loose mortar blocks, which probably have less HP than a flagstone block or something like that, which are all different textures in game. You also have specific ones for each faction and realm. So over time, you'll have to see which one has the best. We have not yet seen that. That's not in game at this moment.
So what we're hoping for is granite blocks, so we can make an ultimate granite phallus to defend the realm.
Yes, we want the hardest stone possible to make sure you're good and hard with your phallic symbol.
That way no one can knock it down.
It's well defended.
Exactly. So, you basically, your version of Viagra is granite. Good to know. Good to know, Malice.
Hey, all I know is that we're renaming all of the basic guild ranks to be seamen, so they can all be deployed out of the penis-shaped castle.
Oh no, the seamen are leaving Castle Grayskull. What are we going to do, man?
So the idea of having builders out there and you have to protect them, do we know or have any idea what the length of time to build just a generic structure is going to be? Have they talked about that? Are you allowed to talk about that?
In testing from a very long time ago, they did have some of that, but that's still well in the purveyorship of in the future. I don't expect any of that to be locked down for good until beta 3.
Question from chat.
2022.
Will anyone be able to build a small 2x1 for a temp forge base like Rust or Ark?
Temp forge base. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Basically, like imagine a tiny house or like a little camp or something like that you're gonna have a little wall around or something like that.
Minecraft, you go and you just build the basic room so that you're protected at night, so the vultures don't come down and bite your head off.
Never played Minecraft, but okay.
So you got into Cube, but you never played Minecraft, but you were looking for a building game.
A good building game. Did I not clarify that I wanted a good building game?
Minecraft is an excellent building game, sir.
Okay.
Well, you haven't played it, so you can't argue with me on this.
I've watched people play it. I'm good without it.
This is like the sophisticated palate of Trev here, and then, cheeseburgers and hot dogs of Malice from, Freddy's or something. Minecraft is good. Vultures in Minecraft. The birds, Narthesis. It's the bird things that fly around. Have you not played it recently? Ark had some incredible builds. That's what Frequency is.
Anyway, to go back to your question, Frequency. Yes, supposedly anyone will be able to build to some degree, just not as effectively, and not be able to use all the blocks, I guess. I mean, the textures that was mentioned before, I don't know. Also, better building game is 7 Days to Die than Minecraft because there's zombies, which are so much better.
As opposed to green block zombies, which are pretty much what the base mob is.
Yeah, except there's giant hordes of zombies in that game, and it's much more difficult.
Well, you're right, but that's the game aspect of it. We're talking about the building aspect of it. Trust me, like Narth doesn't play the game as more as he just sits there and goes in free build mode and builds like giant cathedrals and crazy, like amazing stuff that will blow your mind. So,
which is what I do in offline build with Cube, but I don't have to place one block at a time. I place 100 or 1,000 at a time. It's great.
I assume when you drop a bunch of blocks in the future, at least it would be like you can queue them all up and then just kind of wait for them to build up, or are they just
basically yeah, they slowly build over time. But in the background, when I don't know if I can even mention this. I don't think I mentioned this.
It better not. We don't want to get you in trouble.
This was off of a test that we did once upon a time, and I don't think we're allowed to talk about this yet. There will be a way to see what you're building before it is finalized. Let me just put it that way.
So
I won't go into detail.
Ghost bricks, got it.
Sure, but I didn't say anything.
No,
Malice says the one that said ghost bricks. You didn't even said it, so
yeah, right. Yeah,
it's all his fault. See, it's all. Which way am I pointing? Which way goes which way?
Your left shoulder.
Honestly, if they didn't have ghost bricks, it would be really shitty for them. So I think everybody would be very appreciative of that idea, whether it exists or not. So
let me toss a question to you, Trev. obviously like building games, and based on what you've seen so far, and what would be some things that you would want in Cube that may not be in there now?
Okay,
This is from a
obviously,
personal viewpoint of what you would want in there.
they used to have more textures. I would love to have those back, including water and grass textures. They did just mention recently in one of the videos that they're actually going to allow us to kind of mess with the terrain on our plot, which is great. That means we can level it out. Because with physics, uneven, because obviously everything deals with physics, and your building will fall apart if you don't build it right, which is great. I love it.
All that work.
All that work gone. I mean, I watch it all the time in Cherokee. I'm desensitized to it now. It doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
I'm getting pinged. Sorry. Anyway.
CSE's yelling at you.
Yes, pretty much. So but with it, there's some things in there also. There's some different shapes I would love to have. I would also love them to do the rounded building. I think that'd be a huge thing that we would have that no one else would have with CU. But I would settle for more shapes so that we can make things look a little bit cleaner than they do right now.
But I know I've seen a video where they were actually showing where they were made rounded or arced pieces so that you could snap them together to make circular towers and stuff. Is that just not live? Was that something that was, or not? I shouldn't say live because the game's not live. But is that just not a test server or?
That is confirmed to not be coming into the game until further notice. Whether that is after launch or never, we will not know. But that was confirmed by Andrew, MJ, and someone else about that. Maybe Ben.
Brian, maybe?
No, not Brian.
Okay. Well, that's sadness because, I watched them do a whole entire video on that. And I was like, well, you figured out how to do it. So great.
Trust me, it sucks.
We actually have an island of our own. We were one of the 5 people to buy islands for CU. If you didn't know those existed, so we actually get to build our own structures and stuff in our own town, separate from the game.
Nice.
You can go out on the edges and look and see our house in our own island, and so we're gonna actually have to sit down with CSE eventually and work through all of the details of exactly what we want on the island and all the other fancy fun stuff. So I'm curious if we are getting direct access to build, or if we are going to be kind of working with one of the builders to come up with stuff. It should be interesting.
If you're working with me, granite phallus right in the middle. That's happening. And I'm just gonna put I'm just going to emboss, your name in there, or
it says plague shaft.
Yes, yes. Underneath, we will shaft you. Yes.
So some basic questions for people that are watching that may not know. You can get in and do Cube right now.
Yes, you can do it right now. Yes.
It's a separate server that does its own thing.
And
Actually, it's not a server. It's on your own computer.
That's even goofier. Okay.
So then it's always up.
Offline building mode. Yeah, it's always up.
Now, besides Cherry Keep, have they done any scenarios where there's like live building during any of the combat tests or anything like that?
Cherry Keep wasn't a live building. I mean, it's a building, but it's not a live building. Arobi has the Viking build, which was the castle siege before this one, where they tested the rams and back. Anyway, that was his build originally, where they did some building destruction as a Viking build. Then you have TDD with Cherry Keep, and they have allowed in some former testing to where people can actually build on the island and then can go attack each other's buildings. It was great.
Very cool. Because it's been one of my kind of concerns and complaints overall is that it's not something that I feel is properly integrated with the game yet, and yet they were calling it beta. And I was like, if you have services that are sitting in separate formats and you can't interact with them both at the same time, that's not really a beta. But it's just being a dick.
No.
So real quick, I know a lot of people watch on their phones and don't always have the chat going. If you are watching and don't have the chat and you've got a question that you want to ask Trev, or hear Malice spout off about, get in there and ask it, just mark it with a Q and we'll ask, and Treville will either tell you or make something up depending on what he's allowed to do. So
Or if you just want to post something up there that you want to hear me rant about, I will happily go off for a good 5 minutes on anything, because I like a good soapbox.
Nice. Soapbox time.
Other than that, so how complex do you think the system is currently? Do you think it's going to really, as far as player skill goes, not just character obviously having certain skills to be able to build a brick and use a blueprint or whatever like that, but just player skill alone, do you find that there's a lot of skill in the actual building process?
Well, there's a ton of skill required to build. I mean, most people can get on, they see the builds that builders brigades have put out, or people that have been doing it for years, and they say, oh, wow, I can do this. This isn't hard. This is easy. It won't take long. They get in it, and it's like using Photoshop for the first time. You're just staring at it like, what? So after we do that, after they get over that moment, they start to build, but it takes a long time to start figuring out the intricacies of it. And then when you add physics later on and you realize, oh, so everything I just built, if I didn't properly support it along the way or use the right materials or used stone above wood or something asinine like that, yeah, it's all going to come down crashing on you. So there's a lot to learn with this and a lot of skill base. If you're really good, you can also figure out how to make parts of the building collapse strategically to where they could actually possibly collapse on top of attackers, which is something that will happen later on, which would be a really cool thing.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome if you kick something out from the bottom and watch the rest of it collapse on a bunch of invaders.
Basically, yeah.
But they're planning on that physics affecting physical damage on players then, huh?
Actually, yeah, they are. I mean, I've died from buildings falling on me in the game before, so yeah, it's
very cool. Well, I mean, like,
something.
I'm thinking like Dark Age of Camelot or whatever like that. You blow through a wall and it's like, it's pretty that the wall collapses and falls in or whatever like that, but everybody just runs through because
a lot of the material just disappears once it's destroyed too.
Right. So, it was just pretty and graphical. It wasn't so much.
Will they be leaving 100% of the material in game that's destroyed? Do you know?
Was this mentioned? Hold on. This was mentioned on a stream. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in IT and Builders Brigade. I have to like NDA my rear end a lot.
I hear you.
So
I'm in IT, but I just haven't logged in much.
Yeah, I've noticed, or else you would have answered a lot of your own questions. Like, oh, if I run into the building while everything's falling down on top of me, I will die. I shouldn't do that.
But it's my job to ask questions that I could answer because I'm interviewing you.
How you doing on your drink, Max?
That's been gone and done a while ago. Anyway.
So, question from chat: how do you envision player cities and towns to function? Will they not just be destroyed within a few days of creation? Does CSE have a plan for this?
A large enough building is going to take a long time to destroy. So it wouldn't be worth it to the guild, the group of people, whatever it takes to build it if it's going to be easily destroyed. What I see in the future is I see guilds creating basically cities. So something as large as Plague or Order of Veritas or some of those other big guilds wouldn't actually get enough plots to build out the surrounding, the towers, the gatehouse, all that, the main keep or something of the building. And then they have a bunch of different plots that they make people pay for being able to use them or build on them or rent, some type of system like that, which I think would be a cool idea. But because there's so much time and effort put into those, no, they're not going to be destroyed quickly, but can they be destroyed in a couple of hours? Yeah, probably, 3-4 hours. Yeah, it's possible for someone to siege it and take it down. But it would be a very hard, long fight. It would not be something that you would win in 20 minutes and then walk off and say, hey, look, I just took down an entire keep. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But is it going to be harder to build those? And I guess this is where the guild comes in, but it's going to be a lot harder to build those things to begin with because as you're building, the building is a lot more vulnerable.
Correct, which is where you're going to need people to protect you. But the way that I envision the game working is since the further out you push as a realm, the safer the towers and things you leave behind get to where eventually you're able to expand on those towers. So yeah, sure, anything on the front line is going to be really basic, quick building that is really low on material count, something you can build quick and easy, some like wooden towers, stuff like that, stuff that will get destroyed in a few minutes, but it serves its purpose. It's, archers can shoot down from it.
Yeah, wooden Mott and Bailey with a tower in it, and
Yeah, basically.
go from there.
And then you're going to be able to upgrade that over time, rebuild it into a bigger tower. Then maybe you get another plot, put it next to that one, you put another one next to that, and then over time it builds itself out to a city. It's not going to be something that you just drop at you just drop a keep size plot and then just build up from there. You never do that at the beginning. You're going to drop the smallest plot you can that's effective, like a tower plot, build up a quick tower, and then as that pushes further past the main, combat line, because you push forward, taking more ground.
I see a lot of building blocking going on here.
Building blocking?
If you're building something,
Yes.
I'm going to wait until you guys are offline. I'm going to come in. I'm going to buy a plot just next to you and quickly try to build something up that's going to screw up your plan.
I think, though, the issue is it's going to be hard-ish to do that because you're not going to have an insane amount of plots. They're going to have some scarcity to them because if they don't, then yeah, it's going to be like AAU when everyone puts plots around your crap so you can't expand anymore. Because screw that game. Screw that game.
Tell us how you really feel.
He does not know how to house PvP. That's his problem.
Let's see, another question. So with the physics being a thing, how will that work with moving continents? If a continent is moving, what's happening to the buildings and everything that's on the continent?
As moving continents, I don't believe are in.
Yeah, but that will not affect the physics of it. It's
the physics.
What's going to affect the physics? Yeah, it's just straight down. It's it's not going to be what's happening to the world as it moves. Because think about it, the world's moving right now. Everything's spinning right now that you're standing on, but you're not worried about your house collapsing on you right now because it's structurally sound. Same thing with CU. You're not going to worry about the building coming down on you because, oh, hey, guess what? The entire continent's moving right now. No one cares.
Will weather and all of that affect building?
No idea.
Okay.
Never mentioned.
Let's see. I believe continent pieces will be zones themselves, similar to tiles in Online. Could be wrong, though. Just a guess.
They are supposed to, per previous stream, they are going to be individual shards, supposedly. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, from what I've guessed, Overmind will be involved. So the largest cities, which are going to be very hard to take down from what I've gathered from streams, and this is complete extrapolation, and if this is correct, I'm sorry, I didn't break NDA, though. This is a guess. Ha. So with Overmind, so there could be a big scenario that happens because the game's decided this city's lasted too long. So it puts out an all call for the Vikings to take down an Arthurian city that's been there too long. And it spawns a bunch of NPCs, and then all of your faction's supposed to go in, get some great rewards if you're a part of this. So you go out and you go and try to capture the city or destroy the city that's out there. And with Overmind, it becomes an instance at that point. So it becomes a scenario, which is the tech they built for just this type of thing. And then you go in that part of the server, although you can still access it from the other part of the island, it locks itself down to a scenario, and then things happen, and the building hopefully gets destroyed. And hopefully.
In a way, it's kind of like how your most unfavorite game AAU handles castle sieges. So it locks it down into a limited scope zone.
Well, not so much limited scope, but I guess the scenario is where it sounds like it's going to lock it down to a certain size area, and then that scenario, things will start spawning and happening there because that section of the map is now considered the scenario.
Right.
Now, you could still walk into that section of the map from anywhere else, so it'll still be part of it. It's not instanced out necessarily.
Okay.
So, Jay Carpenter here. Sorry if this has already been addressed. Joined late. So with so much detail in the physics, are circular and/or triangle wedge blocks is going to be incorporated into the game. Conan has triangle wedges in their game, which I enjoy because if you do it right, you can create circular buildings, towers with those, and the squares.
Yeah, so they already have that in the game. They don't have circular, but you can create circular-ish, just like Conan, because I played that game. It's a great game. Love that game. You're able to build stuff that looks circular, but the difference is Conan, those are massive blocks that you're talking about, whereas in Camelot Unchained, they're much smaller, so you can get a lot better detail.
Oh, another one. Is there potential for someone's building to collapse by itself? Say they didn't build it properly due to other natural causes.
Yes, actually, when they originally turned on physics way back when, and people started building stuff in a test, you can actually watch buildings crush on themselves because no one had designed for physics. So it was a lot of fun to watch that. So yeah, if you do things wrong, when I was building Cherry Keep, there were sections that I was adding flair to. So I was putting some wooden inserts in areas, and that wood could not handle the weight of the stone above it, so that piece would crush, and then part of the building would basically fall off, like some of the detail work I did. So yeah.
So the stuff that we log into right now with Cube, if we're going to go and learn to build, is physics just on, or is it you build a structure and then you have an option to turn physics on to see what would happen?
This, I think, has been mentioned. You cannot see physics itself active in offline building mode, but you can see what would happen outside of it. There's a way to see what would happen with physics. Let me put it that way.
Gotcha.
Because MJ said this with Cherry Keep in the last video. It's everything's done server side, all the physics and everything, so nothing can be hacked. It's almost impossible to hack the game that way, which is genius. So what happens is, because of that, you've got server. Since you're in offline mode, you're not talking to the server, so everything's happening on your client side, and it only can give you an extrapolation. So it could look good on your side, but when you put it live, it might have some issues that develop because that was just a best guess versus what's really going to happen live.
So in theory, you could build a building as basically a teapot for the enemy to invade and collapse it on them if destroying a main beam hold. Oh, Cress,
Yes,
that's a great, lovely thing.
Which is actually something I mentioned earlier with Malice, which you can actually build something for part of it to collapse on enemies. It's a genius idea. It's something that we want to do. Builders Brigade have been talking about it for a while once physics went in. So the best builders will have the best looking and the best functional buildings out there.
So, Cress, I think Teapot sounds better than Death Trap, but whatever.
Teapot actually sounds better. I want to call it. That should be a thing now. Oh, you made a teapot build? Oh, crap. That's awesome.
I should just make Cress a teapot. Just, picture for him. Let's see. Bobo is asking, do you know if some of the walls textures will have different setting options, like easier/harder to climb, destroy, repair? So textures are impacting all that stuff.
All I know is that some will take more materials to build than others, so technically, inherently, they would be harder to build and harder to repair because of that.
And I would imagine that if you're going to put a block in the side of a building, you would put a specific block that has the ability to be climbed, and that's not necessarily dependent upon the texture. That's more the block type.
Block type, yeah, but I mean, each block type has a different texture. I mean, they're all named something, so yeah.
Gotcha.
Question: after you've built a large keep or city for your guild, what is your purpose within the guild? Are you able to continue building in some fashion? No, you actually are forced to delete your character as soon as it's completed. They uninstall the game directly from server side, and you're told to go F off.
Basically, you're a male praying mantis. Your job is done now. Bye.
We take your head.
Yeah. We take both of them, actually,
Because the real foundation for building the best material for large phallus buildings
are real phalluses.
The head of other builders.
Frequency, I think the premise here for the game is that you ultimately want to always expand. Your guild is going to, or order is going to always want to build something larger. And if you don't, then you're probably going to get to the point where you just don't exist anymore. That would just be my guess. But
builders are also tied to crafting. So you're talking about actual, whether you're doing actual crafting for weapons and things like that, or that you're more of a field tech and you're out there helping build siege to blow up other people's structures. All these types of skill sets are wrapped around the builder class. So, as per MJ in, I don't remember what video it was, but So that's what it seems like, is you're supposed to always have a role, whether it be an offense, defense, how you build your city, all those types of things are going to be impacted in that. Unless Trev kind of is giving some weird wincy looks, so I'm curious if I'm saying something.
He's not paying
incorrectly.
attention to you.
Oh, I mean, that's quite
He's
possible.
messing
No,
with
I
his
wasn't.
camera.
I was because it was flickering, so I was like, "What the crap is happening with this thing?"
All right,
So
there you go.
Swiper's asking, can you attack your own creation or building?
Great question. Pretty sure you can because trebuchets don't care what happens wherever their bolt lands.
Friendly fire.
Fair enough.
Yeah, which is why I intend to kill Donnie repeatedly somehow and load up all of his corpses into a corpse chucker and launch them at people.
Fair enough. You know,
Yeah.
it's good to have a lot of ammo.
Yeah, we'll see
Yeah, pretty
Skippy.
much.
We'll see Skippy in a corpse chucker quite a bit if Chris has anything to say about it.
Bobo said I use textures, for a lack of a better word, in my French database.
But to answer and expound upon what Malice said earlier, then yeah, the building class is part of crafter class. It's a specialized version of the crafter class, so you can still build other things. But part of the game is not only are you expanding with your own buildings, you're also going to go take over buildings from other people. You want to capture their plots, and then you're going to use builders to rebuild those, customize them to look them more like your realm specific, or put your guild logo or something on it, and then keep going, or to help tear down those buildings for resources to take them back and build more buildings of your own, whatever you want to do.
Because you guys need to think about it. If you're trying to take a strategic plot of land and there's already a keep or tower or something on that land, it's going to be far more economically efficient to take it without destroying it versus destroying it and then having to basically rebuild everything.
I'm kind of hoping, you know, that the crafter builder class can actually kind of get into something like sapping, where they can start blowing up walls and things like that, being a more destructive version of themselves.
I'm good with that.
It would make sense. I mean, you've built it, so you should know the weaknesses and stuff like that. Or,
Yeah.
you know, a little bit more than somebody else. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you see a building out there, you're probably gonna be like, "Oh, it looks like this will be the weak point. Go here."
How much will... How
A
much...
noob built this. I know where to hit the thing. Boom.
How much will a well-designed and built keep impact the defense capture strategies used in the game, or will it mostly have an aesthetic impact only?
Go, Malice, go.
What was the question?
If you build it stronger, will it be stronger, or...
If you build a shaft with greater material,
I knew it. I knew it.
Open the door, he just walked right through.
it will be a
No, you
much
shoved
more
something
efficient
through the door,
in
actually.
disgorging semen into the battlefield.
Malice will use Viagra to build keeps. It's going to be the name of his builder, actually.
Narf, your new game name is gonna be Viagra. You're gonna build the largest shaft in the in the realm.
So don't fuck over any guildmates, or if you do, be sure they will get kicked before they tinker with the build, before it collapses on itself.
Yeah.
Can you build things like secret rooms or traps into a keep? Things for offense and defense against enemies.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to have traps in the game. They've already said that multiple times.
So let me ask you this then, as a playoff on that. Have you built any Easter eggs into any of the keeps that we see in testing?
Of course I have.
There you go, peeps. Go find them.
Easter is coming upon us soon, so the Easter eggs will be important.
My Diverge builder will be named Bodger the Blacksmith.
Bodger the Blacksmith. Okay. Is there a reference there? Am I missing a reference?
I'm missing something.
I feel like I'm missing a
the
reference.
Blacksmith, isn't that something from Monty Python?
Don't know.
Chris,
why?
going, or does he
It's a love-hate. Why am I going to hate you?
because you're already hating him, so you're just gonna keep hating him.
Well, yeah, he went back to World of Warcraft.
I mean, that's a good enough reason to hate you right
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. Wow. Classic WoW, in fact.
I will have your buildings sabotaged below. All right.
Viva la dirt
The blow with the semen or what? I'm confused.
Stream is getting out of hand.
That's how you get him to go farther via the corpse chucker.
So Malice, we've invented a game though. We're gonna have the phallic building, and then we're gonna have one that's an egg shaped, and then we're gonna take the corpse chucker and launch all the semen and see who can hit the egg. You know, it's gonna be a great game.
That would be an awesome mini game.
But we're gonna do it with real people.
So we're gonna have to build the phallus to kind of be like this instead of like this, so that we can put a corpse chucker in the base. So you just launch.
Exactly.
I mean, you think about it. Okay, if I get launched over there and then somebody's there to resurrect me, I could easily, like, if I had a little island or plot of land next to Malice's keep, I could go, hey, the quickest way in, just launch me over, and when I get over there, they'll resurrect me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you need
Instant
to do is
teleportation.
figure out a combo of a thief resurrection thing that can climb the wall, go inside. We just launch corpses in there. Get them! In fact, we did that in Dark Age of Camelot because there was a ability you could get. I think it was on a 1 hour cooldown. The healers could pick up that allows them to self-res, and so we would completely wipe in a lord's room, and then we'd just be like, "Don't move, just don't release, don't release." We'd sit there for 20 minutes, and they'd finally get bored and wander out of the lord's room, and then be like, "Cleric would res." Our healer would res, go in the corner, res, kill the keep lord. Thank you for your keep. Back again.
So what is your favorite type of building to build? I know that you're on TDD, but do you like castles? Do you like the smaller homes? Do you like
gardens?
Yes.
TDD.
Yes. I love playing in the lady gardens. Anyway. Yes, I trim those regularly. Anyway. I know. This is what you get when you bring...
whatever.
This is the type of stream you have when you bring me on, which is why you can never bring me on stream again. I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, see, the next plan is to get you on stream where we actually have permission from CSE to stream some of Cube.
Well, if someone had told me before yesterday, and that person was not a CSE person, asked me what the crap was going on, like a week beforehand, I could have had that happen today.
We'll just blame Cress and move on. Anyway, what kind of buildings do you like to prefer to build?
Okay. I prefer to build whatever's challenging. So when you start building, you have different styles. So I have like 3 different styles for each realm, but I like doing something that's totally weird, whether it's a small building, a keep, something that just looks different than anything I've built before. So I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's use in it. Yeah. Module building and all that, modular building where you can just throw down the same stuff repeatedly until you get whatever building you want. But it's always nice to do something really over the top, really elaborate, something that stresses what I know how to do in Cube.
So always push.
And it doesn't matter which realm that is, as long as it's something different. But it's rarely Arthurian because that stuff is really basic and easy because you have real world examples everywhere of it.
So you do build in all 3 realms?
Yes. I have an entire Arthurian city. You won't see it because it's locked in the old Cube, but it's there. My most recent build was a Viking build.
What'd you do?
It was a keep, modular keep. Throw down whatever you want, whatever parts I built, and you can make it, scale it up.
Very cool.
So are you able to expand on how the blueprint process works? So if I'm like a designer in the game and I want to create a blueprint for somebody else to then buy from our guild or however that system is going to work, how is that blueprint created?
All right, so
I guess what are blueprints exactly, more importantly?
Blueprints are not like blue balls, but they are similar in that you just hold them and can't do anything with them.
Fuck.
I know. So you build something in a plot, whatever. Then you select everything in the selection mode tool. Control S, you save it, you give it a title, you give it a name, and then you can take that group of whatever you built and you can repeat it ad nauseum however much you want. In the game, supposedly, we're going to take those blueprints. As a builder, you're going to be able to inscribe those onto something where you can then sell it to other players. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Details haven't been mentioned, except for that it just can happen. So later on in the game, that's going to happen, and we're going to be able to have some fun.
So basically, like a Viking builder could build a longhouse and be like, "Hi, I am selling the blueprints for longhouses," and you can just be like, "Snap tight a bunch of longhouses."
Yep. You can also, what will probably be more common will be modules, like I was talking about, where, okay, I'm going to sell this blueprint to you 10 times for different modules. And then you can just take those and build your own keep out of it or whatever you want to do. And then I still have all the original blueprints. You use those 10 blueprints, you can't buy them anymore or use them anymore.
Yeah, they're one-shot effects, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like a prefab model. That kind of was my expectation. Yeah, it's the classic D&D scroll. I cast fireball off the scroll. Poof, the scroll goes away.
Exactly. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. Now, the issue is once you build it, though, will you be able to blueprint that design that you just paid for? So don't know how that's going to work. That hasn't been explained. It's just a concern that we have moving forward.
I would probably say yes, only if you have the skill level to build that type of structure, which means that you probably didn't need the blueprint in the first place. But the blueprint would have been handy. It would
Makes it faster or something.
Because I just you're instead of me having replacing my skill, I'm taking your idea.
Well, I meant literally. Okay, so you take the blueprint, you drop it on the plot,
Right.
and then you select everything inside that plot and you save it as a new blueprint, which you can do. So then basically my blueprint, which I had the monopoly on, now multiple people have it. They bought it. One person bought it, and now they're going to flood the market with my own blueprint. How's this going to work in game? Don't know.
But the I guess the end result is this is kind of where I was going is, so we'll say I drop your blueprint down, right? Boom, structure. Okay, so it was built like this, and we'll say I can't even do that with what you built, but I could build right next to it and go, I built the exact same thing. I turned it into a blueprint. Now you don't have the monopoly.
Exactly. So yeah,
I mean,
how's it going to work?
Right. So to me, it doesn't seem like building structures are that big a deal, just because they don't have they're not like a magical rare component system. Like it's not like I have the sword of the God Eater or something like that, and I'm the only one that can make that because it takes these super rare things and souls of the enemy and all this other crazy stuff. Whereas you're like, well, yeah, we took blocks and we made this, and you could build that. And I assume there's a certain skill level in building that you would need to make it a blueprint in the first place once the game goes live, assumably. I'm talking on my ass as far as like, but that would be the assumption, is that you're trying to, everything's based on skill level of whatever talent you're working on. So if it's a blueprint that makes a large structure, cool, then you have to be able to make that large structure to get a blueprint for it or whatever like that. So then you're copying it, but you're copying it among people that are in the realm of talent, as opposed to giving it away to a bunch of people who can copy it on a lower level. This is kind of how I would assume it would work, but
no idea. I mean, and blueprints can be any size, so it could just be like some fancy architectural, nice looking stuff that you can throw on the outside of it, or it could be an entire building. Who knows? I mean,
and I would say that
they need a copyright office.
Yeah, the copyability would be based on kind of its size of which would be based on its skill.
So, Trev, what are you most looking forward to within the ability to build within this game and the way that we understand how the game currently works? Like, what's got you all excited?
What has my panties in a bunch, sir, if that's what you're asking, is I don't know, just the notion of how to build something really effective for the front line, and then how to slowly evolve that into something that's going to be there for good, that's going to last in the game, possibly for years. I mean, that'd be one of the coolest things, to be able to leave the game for 3 months, come back, and my city's still there because no one can take it down. That's an awesome thing. So yeah, that's something that really has me excited, because I want to be able to take that little tiny crap tower that was thrown up just so we can get something, forward momentum, and keep taking over lands and taking over this island, and then turn around and say, oh, hey, look, my building's still there 6 months later.
I think that in some ways, based on what Carpenter just said, he said, seems risky. Hey, here's a blueprint of my guild keep. Study it, learn it, find its weak points, invade my people's home. Have ample materials before selling it off so that you can change it up, change it up a bit. Now, I think there's a step we're kind of missing, is these blueprints aren't something you're going to be selling to other factions. They're going to be sold to your own faction. Everybody's on your team. This is a Dark Age. I can't flag on you and murder screw my my own teammates. This is all about faction gameplay. So at worst, he's going to copy your structure, and you're going to be like, hey, I built that originally, and that's about it.
That's a fascinating point, though. If I were to build a keep based on a blueprint and then sell it to the enemy, and they come up and they look at it and they go, oh, that's this keep. We know exactly how it is. But after I've gotten rid of that blueprint, I've gone in and changed the internals a little bit to just completely throw them off. So they're going to come, and maybe I've set up that one weak point that's in that blueprint that's pretty evident, and they're going to come attack that. And that could be kind of a cool thing. But
yeah. But since a lot of the materials are faction-based, I have a feeling that that's not going to be really a thing.
Swiper, you beat me to my next question for Trev here. Trev, once upon a time, you and I had talked about some tutorials and stuff that you were planning on developing for Cube to get more people into building Cube. Did that ever come to fruition?
There are some older ones that I still have out there. Oops, go back down. That are still out there on the forums right now, but I did start those, but because things were supposed to change with Cube as a whole, I decided that I did not want to mess with those currently, because I'm really waiting for the next UI to come out, because I want the final or final-ish UI to be out there. That way people will stop asking a million questions like, oh, hey, how is this supposed to work? Or how does this? Or this doesn't look like what mine has right now. So it kind of got a little annoying for me.
I'm going to hate to break it to you, Trev, but fully launched games that have been out for years still deal regularly with the same list of stupid questions for years and years and years. So you'll never get away from it.
Thank you. That was great. That was great.
I'm a strong motivator. It's like what I do to I'm a public speaker for motivational speaking.
Oh, wow. You are great at it. I'm very impressed. In fact, I feel motivated right now to just get up and walk away and go kill myself. Thank you.
Bad malice. So, Trev,
I won. What are you talking about? He killed himself.
Another question for you: if someone really, really, really wants to learn this, and they're willing to pay for lessons for this, is that something that you would teach them?
I don't think we're allowed to do that right now.
Yeah,
but if everybody can access
live, I mean, why not?
Yeah, you're just teaching them the basics.
Well, I mean, I'm going to put up videos out there eventually. Eventually, I will be asking, and I even mentioned this to Brian during our conversation about being able to stream on this tonight, that I'm going to ask for permission to start streaming, hopefully live, and be able to, well, once I fix all my inherent issues I'm having technologically right now, buy a bunch of stuff.
He's technologically challenged.
Yeah, build an amazing rig, buy all kinds of stuff, and F my life. Okay. I mean, my green screen wasn't working earlier because whatever. So there's a black screen behind me instead. There's 3 really bright lights around me, and my Logitech, it's like, screw you. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to put out some videos. I'm going to try to do some Twitch. I mean, eventually, yeah, probably Patreon things and all that. And yeah, maybe one of those Patreon things would be, I will, I don't think I'd be able to get away with like giving you a free blueprint, but I'd be able to, give you some private one-on-one lessons or something with it. Yeah.
So Swiper, long story short, wait. Stuff
So
is.
eventually, Trev and you can sit in a room, and it'll be like from Ghost, and he'll wrap his arms around you. You'll make a piece of pottery out of it.
Wait. I have
But
an
it'll be a building.
emoji.
And it'll look like a penis.
I have an emoji to answer Swiper's question right there. Soon.
Soon.
Oh, that's a great emoji. I haven't seen that yet. I'm very impressed by that. It's like you stole the idea of the one that I had used in your Discord.
Exactly.
Ah, great.
I just used a different face, which Twitch actually flagged for a little while.
See, Trev, now you know exactly how it'll feel when your blueprints are repeated.
You know, I think I do. Yeah. I hate this freaking thing. I hate this freaking. Yeah, I
Wow,
hate this
Trev
freaking thing.
and Swiper sitting in a room working on Malice's phallus. Sounds scary.
Very scary, actually.
What you need to do is you need to stare deeply into my eyes and teach me all that you need to know.
Any last questions for Trev while we've got him here on the stream? And again, we'll try to get him back on with the ability to actually stream a little bit of Cube.
Miscommunication between me and Zaylen, so...
Yep. But we're blaming Cress, so it's his fault.
Okay, Chris, it's all your fault. You could have had me building tonight.
Trev, is there anything you want to say?
Wow. There was some passion in that. People say that I get on my soapbox. That was impressive, people.
Look, here's the only thing I have to say, and it's I will go pro CSE White Knight for 5 seconds of my life.
And the
You are pretty
stop.
white right now, so that works out.
I'm white all the time, buddy. It's
Not that white.
look, man, it's great. I'm giving up on this thing. I just turned white balance off, and it still keeps flicking around. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Okay, so look, they made a terrible decision. They completely broke my trust and the trust of like the whole community this year so far. They're starting 2020 really well. But I'll say this, FSR, I am fortunate enough to have tested it. We are given permission to mention this. It is actually fun so far. I think it'll be a fun game when it releases and we get it for free as a backer. So hey, wait, play it. It'll be fun. Play with some friends. You'll have fun. With building and everything, I will be hopefully later this year. Hopefully we'll be far enough along that I can actually bring out the videos again, start streaming and actually teaching people how to build. So if you have interest, hopefully by the middle of this year, you actually see those. They're supposed to come out last year. I started, have intro, everything done. Actually had 2 videos ready to go to YouTube and just got too tired of it. So we'll see. Just give Mark Jacobs time the next 3 months like he asked, see what happens at the end of 90 days. Riot if it's not right. I don't care anymore. But give him his time. I've accepted it.
Do you think, as we have talked about Ragnarok many times at this point, we even had a dedicated show for it. Do you think that building will be included? No.
You even finish your question.
Damn. Well, I mean, it saddens me because I think that would be an excellent addition. I mean, you don't need to build keeps, but it would be cool to build kind of mazy walls and things like that to help try to control.
See, I can't go into detail, but building as we know it in CU, I can guarantee you will never be in Ragnarok.
Sure.
Fair enough. You will make Zaylen all wet when you do. All right. Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Well, I think that we have kind of hit our exit time. So let's wrap things up. You've got do we have any more questions out there before we call this? Anyone? You have 30 seconds to post something. Frequency has one. All right. What is your question, sir?
Gonna type it out.
He's using his nose. He broke his hand.
He's face rolling the keyboard.
Hey, it works for some people.
It was a horrible penis building accident, and he broke both of his hands, so he used his nose.
You didn't make the penis structurally sound, so it crumbles.
Fell on his hands and he broke them. It was horrible.
The semen went everywhere. Poor semen never had a chance.
Could we see Cube used similar to StarCraft and Warcraft custom games like Hero Wars or possible Dota level? Amazing new idea.
No.
I mean, I guess there is access to the API, and depending on what access people have to the API, they could render out that information and make new game types, but they wouldn't be done by CSE. So just like Dota isn't done by Blizzard, it was basically stolen and then modded. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all. There's links above. If check out our YouTube channel. Pretty much all of the streams that we've had, almost all of them, you'll find on YouTube. You can watch them there, comment, carry on the conversation, join our Discord, and then we also have some merch for those that like hoodies and stickers and stuff like that. So appreciate y'all coming out, and we'll remember no Sunday stream this week, and no
MMO Grind next week because Zaylen is going to be out of town, and I don't all think you just want to listen to me ramble on because, I mean,
we listen to you ramble.
I want to listen to you ramble while drunk.
So, like right now?
No. I want you to play the Linuxification game, the very first game CSE actually released, which is whenever the word is used in a stream, you take a shot.
Yep.
While you rant about the stream, I want to see it.
Rant about the use of the word Linuxification every time you drink when you say the word Linuxification.
This is vodka and energy drink, so I mean, yeah. I could do shots of those and we'd be having a real good time.
Thank you all. See you later.
See you later.
Have a good night.